Why are Christian charities vulnerable? First of all, it's a community of trust. If you think about it, if you go back to your childhood and over the course of your life, you know, it's a pretty tough world out there sometimes. And you know, the church has always been a place that's been a bit of a haven. It's a source of salvation for evangelical Christians in terms of meeting as believers, sharing, worshiping, raising children in a Christian environment and Christian education, and saying this place is different. This place is safe. We want it to be that way. Unfortunately, the problem is that we've succumbed to this idea that once anybody walks into the doors of a church, they must be okay. And that's not true. Salvation doesn't mean people are perfect. And when we let people and encourage people to come onto our premises that have problems, we're seeking to help hurting people, and they come, and then things happen within our doors. Why should we be surprised? And wouldn't we all like to live in a Leave It to Beaver world? Wouldn't that be nice, right? But it's not the reality. And it never was the reality, by the way, because back in the 1940s and 50s, all of these abuse issues were getting swept under the carpet, weren't they? People weren't reporting abuse. Nobody believed them. Parents would say, oh, well, that's the priest, that's the minister, you know, you're just lying, or don't say anything, whatever. Pendulum was at an extreme back then. It wasn't being reported. It wasn't being communicated. Society didn't take it separately. We're at the other end now. We're afraid of our own shadows, right? So we've gone completely the other way. Hopefully we'll come into some balance at some point, but that Leave It to Beaver world, that community of trust, the fact sometime in the past there was never any problems, it didn't exist. If I read my Bible, if I look at the Old Testament, I mean, the chosen people were always getting into trouble, doing all kinds of terrible things. My daughter, first time I read the Old Testament to my daughter, Rebecca, our oldest daughter, you know, it'd be the next thing that the chosen people were doing wrong in terms of, looking towards idols or whatever. And she, I think she was 7 years old at the time, or saying, so, I can't believe they're doing that again, you know? So it's like, as much as we like to think that it was different sometime in the past, it wasn't. It wasn't. And that's why the Bible is such an incredible book. You know, not the sanitized version, the real version. Because it's real, right? It's all the issues and problems that we have as human beings, as created beings, and falling short, and acknowledging sin. What other things? Ignorance of facts. Maybe it's getting better now, but in churches, we just weren't aware of this issue. We didn't think it could happen. We didn't know about abuse. We didn't know, what is pedophilia? What's the psychology of it? Lack of safeguards. We had no safeguards. Zero. Opportunities for access to children. If you're a pedophile and you're seeking access to children, where do you go? Where kids are and no one's minding the shop. That's easy access. And the thing that's the sort of like the match to light this is the fact that if you think about it, every church and charity, probably even represented in this room, unless you're really fortunate, is always desperate for volunteers to run the programs that you really want to run. There's always a shortage. In my church, it's hilarious because like in August or September when they're trying to start up fall programs, there's certain leaders of youth and children's departments going around trying to catch people after the service, saying, will you volunteer this year for nursery or children's, and the other people who are the prey, they're being stalked, are running around the corners trying to avoid these people, right? So, but you put it all together, it's not surprising there's a big problem here.